We're in the worst economic crisis in US history, and contrary to popular belief, it's not because of COVID, it's not because of coronavirus. It is because our government's failed response to COVID. That's the reason why we're in the worst economic crisis in US history. 60 million people lost their job since March this year. 60% of businesses that closed because of COVID are closed permanently. 40 million people are about to be evicted because they can't afford to pay rent, and they have thousands of dollars in back rent. There are thousands and thousands of cars lined up outside of food banks every single day in every single city in this country because they can't afford to feed themselves or they can't afford to feed their families. As always, I repeat these numbers so that we're all on the same page about the gravity of the situation, how dire the situation is right now. So last week I did a video about how 9 months into negotiations about another stimulus bill after the corporate scam CARES Act, the best that the government has is a $900 billion deal that didn't even include stimulus checks. So that was just an outrageous, outlandish position to begin with. Now they've gone from no stimulus checks to a $600 stimulus check. And keep in mind, there are millions of people who didn't receive the first stimulus check, so they wouldn't receive a second one. And even for the people who do receive this does almost nothing to help them. Almost nothing. So the fact that after 9 months of so-called negotiations, this is what the Democrats and Republicans agree on, a $600 stimulus check to some people, millions won't get, is beyond insulting. So what is the position of the Justice Democrats? They're supposed to be representing the left in this country, the working class in this country. They're supposed to be the ones reframing the discussion in a way that makes sense, reframing it in a way that centers around the working class. They're supposed to be shifting the Overton window back somewhere that makes any semblance of sense. So what's their position on this horseshit $600 stimulus check proposal? Well, last night Ilhan Omar sent out a tweet on this so-called compromise that made me cringe. I'll say that. And she was basically saying, hey, sure, it's not what you guys should get, but if you're poor, $600, you should be grateful that you get the $600 because it's better than nothing. So you can say I was triggered by this, and I have a lot to say about this nonsense $600 stimulus check proposal and this ridiculous mindset that, oh, something is better than nothing, because that's been used to justify a lot of bullshit, trying to feed the public a lot of bullshit. So I have a lot to say about that. And also this idea of, oh, we'll accept the bullshit now, we'll accept the crumbs and the scraps now, but oh, you better believe we're going to keep on fighting and we're going to get the stuff for you later. That's nonsense. You said that 9 months ago, and that 9 months later, the best you got is a $600 stimulus check. So how about you save the bullshit, oh, we're going to fight for you later shit, and how about you just fight for us now? So I have a lot to say about that, but first, have a little bit of an announcement. We finally passed 3,000 subscribers on the channel. So I'm incredibly grateful for all the people who subscribe, the people who've been watching from the beginning, like Sam Lurf, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, who's been watching videos for damn near since I started this channel and commenting, so greatly appreciate him. Also appreciate Captain Obvious, who's been watching videos for a very long time and subscribing and commenting. Emblemed Fate, who's been watching for a long time, leaves great comments. All the people that you guys see in the comment section, and also even the ones that still watch but don't comment. I'm incredibly grateful for all the support you guys have given me and help grow this channel to over 3,000 subscribers. I've posted over 200 videos so far, and we're almost at 170,000 views in total for the channel. So I'm not going to stop. We're going to keep growing the channel. I'm also expanding to different platforms, like many of you guys have asked. That being said, you guys already know the deal. I love doing the show for you guys, and I want to make this my main thing. But in order for that to happen, it needs to be sustainable. So if you guys can contribute to Patreon or PayPal, the links to both are on the About Page of the YouTube channel. Patreon, you can sign up to do a monthly subscription. I have different price levels. And for PayPal, if you want to do a one-time contribution, that's also greatly appreciated. And any amount helps. And I'm incredibly grateful. And I cannot put into words how much I appreciate all the people who not only follow the channel for this long, but who've financially contributed, because you guys make it possible for me to keep doing what I love. Now, back to this video. All right, so first let me get my thoughts out about the absurdity of a one-time $600 payment after 9 months, and also considering the fact that millions of people will still be left out of this payment because of the means testing that they put on it from the first time. This is beyond ridiculous. Because, and I'm seeing a lot of people saying, are these like making it out to seem that these people are just these bumbling buffoons and they don't know that $600 isn't going to do anything to help people. They know that. They just don't care. These people, these politicians, they probably spend $600 a week on lunch every week. They know that $600 isn't going to do shit for people who haven't been working for months, people who are on the brink of eviction, people who can't afford to feed their family. They know $600 isn't going to do shit to actually improve their situation. But this is what they're proposing anyway after 9 months, because they don't give a shit. This is what they're proposing, knowing damn well there's a very good possibility that they pass nothing else for the rest of this crisis, but maybe for another 9 months. They know that that's very likely and the most likely scenario to come up after this. And still, this is what they're going to do. Give people $600 and tell them to go kick rocks. This is unconscionable. And I don't know why there aren't immense protests and direct actions. Honestly, I don't know why there aren't riots in the streets after the CARES Act and after them jerking us around and then trying to propose $600 as if it's going to do anything. Now, let me get to Ilhan Omar's tweets. But first, let me make something clear about why I criticize Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Bernie Sanders, AOC, Ro Khanna, Pramila Jayapal. Why I criticize them more than the other politicians who we all know are shit. It's because not only did they run on being the exact opposite, being anti-establishment and taking on the corruption in Washington, D.C., and actually fighting for the people. That's what they ran on. So I'm holding them to that. But also, I need people to understand that these politicians are not going to save you. They are all comfortable. Whatever you feel about them, however you think they're fighting for you, they're all comfortable where they're at. They're all getting paid 6 figures. They all have health care. And no matter what happens, they're going to be taken care of and they're not going to be hurting. And they're more concerned with building their career and reputation in the Democratic Party and getting committee assignments and moving up the ranks and getting into leadership positions than they care about fighting for you. That's the reality. And I need people to understand that, because the only option that we have to get the government to be responsive and work for the people, to pass Medicare for all, to pass UBI, monthly recurring payments, to ban evictions for the moment, and to cancel all rent and debt and mortgage related to housing for the duration of this crisis. The only way any of that's going to happen is through direct action. And the only way direct action is going to happen is if enough people finally realize that you cannot be waiting around for these politicians to save you, because they're not going to. So now let me get to Ilhan Omar's tweet. She says, $600 might be too little, but $2,400 for a family of 4 is certainly more than they have right now. We will keep fighting, but I know as a mom who lives paycheck to paycheck, I would welcome any money right now. So You guys tell me what that sounds like to you. Go ahead and leave in the comment section. Tell me what that sounds like to you. Because what it sounds like to me is, yeah, I know this is crumbs. It's really shit, and it's not going to do anything to help people, to materially improve people's lives or financial situation right now. But hey, what are you going to do? This looks like the best we're going to get, so I'm going to support this bullshit insulting $600 stimulus check. But trust me, we're going to get you something down the road. And so I have a couple things to say about this. This whole idea of, oh, it's you poors better be grateful for whatever the government gives you because it's better than nothing. That whole mindset needs to go in the goddamn garbage. It needs to go in the trash because it is so unproductive, and it's used to rationalize fucking over the public because they say, oh, it's better than nothing. But the reality is, doing nothing isn't an option at all, because what you guys are there to do, regardless of how the position you have has gone to your head and the power and the authority you have, regardless of all of that, top and bottom line, what you're there to do is to represent the public and to do what the public wants. So doing nothing was never an option. Doing nothing means you are abdicating your responsibilities as elected representatives. Doing nothing means you're sitting there collecting a 6-figure check from the public and you aren't going to do your job. That's what doing nothing means. So that was never an option. So this whole false debate of, oh, should we give them crumbs and scraps or do nothing, is, like I said, it's a false debate, because doing nothing isn't an option. People need help right now. People demanding a response from the government right now. That same mindset is what got these quote elected progressives, AOC, Bernie, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Pramila Jayapal, Ro Khanna. That exact mindset is what got them to go along with the fucking heist that was the CARES Act. And look how that turned out. It was one of the worst pieces of legislation any of us will ever see in our lifetime. The way that it facilitated the largest upward transfer of wealth in the middle of a crisis. It was Naomi Klein's shock doctrine. It was a robbery. Still is a robbery in progress, taking money from the working class and giving it to the richest people and the richest corporations in the country. That's what the CARES Act was. And that same fucking mindset, oh, it's better than nothing. The cheese in the trap, the $1,200 stimulus check in the CARES Act is better than nothing. That same mindset got all of you to roll over and lay in a chalk outline of yourself and go along with it without putting up a fight, because you had that mindset of it's better than nothing, and nothing was never an option on the table. And Ilhan Omar is supposed to be the best of them. One of the best, the Justice Democrats, the politicians who don't take corporate money, who are supposed to be beholden to the working class. She's the one who claims to be a social democrat fighting against wealth inequality. So if anybody in Congress is supposed to fight for the people on this, it's supposed to be her. And the bare minimum position that makes any amount of sense right now, given the gravity of the situation, given the numbers that I read to you at the beginning of this segment, the only thing, the bare minimum that makes sense right now is to give people a $2,000 monthly recurring payment, UBI, for the duration of this crisis at the very least. I'm in favor of it permanently, but at the very least for the duration of this crisis, and make it retroactive for the last 9 months that we went without any pay from the government. After 60 million people lost their job in the worst economic crisis in history. That's the bare minimum. Honestly, you should throw in the eviction bans and debt cancellation and Medicare for all and all of it, because that is literally the bare minimum response to the government. But just say you need to get these direct payments to people right now. The bare minimum you should be asking for is that $2,000 UBI that's retroactive and covers the 9 months that the government tried to scam us out of a check. So when you add all that up, that's $18,000 lump sum payment and then $2,000 payment in continuation. That's the only position that makes sense. And Ilhan Omar, and as I'm sure the rest of the Justice Democrats, they have bought into one of the most extreme positions, right-wing positions that you can possibly take on this situation, giving people a one-time $600 check. They're about to get all on board with this and vote yes on this because what you say, it's better than nothing. If you're poor, you're starving, you can't put food on the table for your kids, you better accept it because it's better than nothing. And then she tries to rationalize taking this extreme right-wing position of a $600 or one-time $600 check. She tries to justify that by saying, "Oh, we'll keep fighting. Oh, we'll keep fighting. We're gonna keep fighting, and we're gonna get you all the good stuff. Oh, trust me. We didn't get it now, but we'll get all the good stuff. We're just gonna keep on fighting. So just accept this, lay down, and we'll get you the good stuff." Where did I hear this before? Oh, that's right. You guys said the same exact thing when you passed the CARES Act and it gave $5 trillion to the richest corporations, the richest people in this country, and you gave everybody a one-time $1,200 check. Back then when you passed it, you said you were going to get all the good stuff later. You said you were going to keep fighting. There were going to be more stimulus bills, and then you would get all the good stuff in those stimulus bills. That was 9 months ago. And 9 months later, the best you got, the furthest you got in getting all the quote good stuff is a one-time $600 check. So why on fucking earth would I believe that giving you another month, 2 months, 6 months, 8 months, 9 months will produce any better results? Why isn't the most logical prediction of how this is going to turn out be that 9 months later, if we get anything else at all, it won't be another shitty $600 check? Because this is what you've gotten so far. Is there anything, what is going to change between now and later that you're going to get UBI passed? What change in strategy is there going to be? That you're going to get all the good stuff, that you're going to get people what they actually need. If you aren't fighting for it now, I don't believe you. I don't think you're going to fight for it later. And, today, Matt Orfalea posted a video that he found of Nancy Pelosi from 30 years ago, talking about how she agrees with Medicare for all, but she had a litany of excuses why it just wasn't the right time to pass it at that moment. And why we have to just wait. We have to keep kicking the can down the road, but trust me, we'll get it for you later. Again, that was Nancy Pelosi 30 years ago. And then, so this is a strategy that neoliberals have used for a very long time. This placating and pretending that they're on your side and that they agree with you on the solution to a problem, but we just can't do it now. We just can't fight for it now because there's a whole list of reasons why we can't do it. And this is, it is so eerie how similar what Nancy Pelosi did back then was to what the Justice Democrats are doing right now. AOC with the same thing with Medicare for all. Oh, I agree with you all on Medicare for all. We just can't fight for it now, though. Oh, we can't threaten Nancy Pelosi's speakership. We can't withhold our vote for Nancy Pelosi because something is bad for the Medicare for all movement and whatever rationalizations and bullshit lies she wants to come up with. Oh, we can't do it now, but trust me, I agree with you. We're going to do it later, though. If you're not going to do it right now, in the middle of a pandemic, when Nancy Pelosi needs your votes to be Speaker of the House, when are you ever going to fight for a vote on a floor vote on Medicare for all? When are you going to do it? And with Ilhan Omar, it is winter. People are at the end of their rope. It's been over 9 months since some people got any assistance from the government, and some people didn't even get that. If there was ever a time to lay down a line and go to the mat and say, I'm not budging an inch from UBI and retroactive payments, I'm not moving an inch from that. If there was ever a time to do that, it would be right at this moment. So if you're going to tell me after 9 months of negotiations, the best you got is $600, you don't tell me that you're going to fight for all the other stuff later, because you've proven that you are ineffectual, that you cannot do what you say you are going to do. So how about you save it? How about if you're so keen on these negotiations, let's have a negotiation right now. You say you want to, you'll go along with this bullshit $600 check, and you'll fight later for the good stuff that we should have. All right, how about this? How about this for negotiation? You fight for the UBI now, and you don't have to fight for it later. How about that? How about that for negotiation? Because I'm tired of the weakness. I'm tired of the rolling over. I'm tired of everybody telling us, oh, not now. You just have to wait later. Wait later. And what I know they're going to try to do is exactly what they did after 2008, where they gave the public scraps and crumbs, gave trillions to the richest people in the country, the people who caused the crash in 2008, gave them a blank check bailout, and then they keep stringing everybody along. Oh, we're going to pass something else. Congress is going to pass something else. There'll be more assistance for the public later on down the road. And months go by, then years go by, and then they turn around and pretend like everything's normal. There's nothing to see here. And if you're asking for any assistance, you're just asking for a government handout because you're lazy. Ignoring the fact that the entire economy was gutted and the government did absolutely nothing to help the working class to get out of the crisis that they were in. So after 2008, it was a perpetual crisis for anybody who was in the working class or in the middle class. All their jobs were replaced with low-wage jobs that didn't have benefits, that didn't have health care. So that's how they did us in 2008. And you are incredibly naive if you don't think they're going to try to pull the same bullshit now. And Ilhan Omar, instead of calling it out, and then AOC, instead of calling it out and fighting for what we need right now, they're going along with it, and they're going to tell everybody, don't fight now. We can't fight now. We have to accept the crumbs, accept the scraps, and maybe later down the road we'll get what you need.